MTG and me, this is Charles, and today I'm going to be opening up the Commander 2020 deck, Arcane Maelstrom. Alright, let's go. So, if you're not familiar with Commander, it's a 100 card singleton format, meaning you're allowed one card of each, or one copy of each card in your deck, excluding basic lands. And then in addition to that, you have what's considered a general, or your Elder Dragon. That's where the name EDH comes from, who's essentially like almost the boss of your deck, and he gets some special rules associated with him or her. In this case, Calamax the Stormshire, you'll notice, is an oversized card, but is also going to be available in the deck as a standard-sized card. He would serve as, or she would serve as a commander, or the boss of the deck. Now, you may wonder, like, these things aren't random, so why is an opening of interest? One, just to kind of get a feel for the cards in here. They introduced something like 8 to 10, I believe, mechanically unique cards to each deck, like new cards to Magic. Or it's more than that, in fact, this year. It's 17 new cards in this deck. So that's always nice to see some new or unusual cards that you wouldn't have otherwise seen. And then the second one is sometimes things go wrong in your cards. Now, in full disclosure, I've been opening Magic products for probably 5 years now, and out of all those times, I've never gotten a serious misprint. I've gotten a couple of miscut cards where I have square corners, but nothing substantial like whole sheet misprints or off centers like you'll sometimes see in Reddit forums or whatever. And I've only ever once had a product that I'd consider defective. I had bought a Masters booster box a couple of years ago, and it had 23 booster packs instead of 24. And it was a lot easier to prove my case, although I think Wizards is pretty generous about complaints like this, but it was a lot easier to prove my case when I could just show them the video and show that I only opened 23 packs out of 24. Okay, so all that being said, we're going to look at this Calamax the Stormshire deck. So this is a green, blue, red deck. Normally we'll have the Planeswalkers up front. So we're going to have a copy of Calamax the Stormshire. Then our alternate Planeswalkers, which are considered part of the 99 cards. We have Xyrus the Writhing Storm. So this is a new card as well. And oh, partner. I was going to be like, why is there only one here? But I get it. So technically these two partner together and serve as a commander. So it's Halden, Avid Arcanist, and Paco, Arcane Retriever. So those two serve together, count as the third Planeswalker. So fascinating. We got a bunch of double-faced tokens, which are always nice to have. I like to slot these into my commander box and just use them. Again, double-faced is just particularly nice. And then we dig into, it looks like, what, command stables and reprints. So command tower, that's always good. IR bounce lands, Frontier Bivouac, Halimar Depths, unusual one. There's another bounce land. Myriad Landscapes, a solid include. Bounce land. I guess mana fixing for these decks, you have to include that kind of stuff. So one thing I will note that I'm not a huge fan of, and I understand that these were released alongside the Ikoria cards. In the past, commander decks have all been the commander set, which is weird because in this case they're commander set cards, but they keep no, that's the commander card. Where's my example? The Ikoria cards. Here we go. So those are commander, but these are Ikoria cards. So historically, even your lands, your basic lands in that would still be commander-specific basic lands. And as a person who's interested in collecting Magic cards, that's more desirable to me than this. It's a very, very minor nitpick, but you know, as somebody who ekes out not a living, but ekes out sort of a sustainable part of his hobby, one of the things I do is I trade in some fairly low-value cards, and my hunch is, based on historical data, that commander lands tend to be a little bit more valuable than your standard set lands. So it's unfortunate they've switched to that and they include things like this from Ikoria. In this case, I also understand these commander decks were released alongside Ikoria, so they're sort of Ikoria commander decks, and I think it's a shift in the paradigm. So for example, this fall when the new Zendikar set comes out, they're actually going to release 2 commander decks in place of the Planeswalker decks alongside the set. Okay, so we look at our rares. We've got a Decoy Gambit, an Eon Frolicker, Nascent Metamorph, pretty cool art. Looks like a little salamander. Deflecting Swat. If you control a commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost. You may choose new targets for target spell or ability. That's a weird one. Lava Brink Floodgates. Got a Curious Herd. Copy of Glade Muse. I think this is where we're burying a bunch of the newer stuff, because I don't recognize most of this. Ravenous Gigantotherium. That's the 3/3 beast for 7, but why? Oh, Devour. That mechanic came back. Interesting. Good Twinning Staff. Look at that, a copy of Jace, Architect of Thought in here. Lunar Mystic. Mystic Niblis of Frost. Swarm Intelligence, that's a reprint. Talrand's a reprint. Chaos Warp, reprint, but good commander stable. Charmbreaker Devils, Bulk. Comet Storm, everyone's favorite mythic. Commune with Lava, Dual Caster, these are all reprints. Atali, Primal Storm, Goblin Dark Dwellers, pretty cool cards. Starstorm. Strength of the Tajiru, Artifact Mutation. These really are loaded with rares. Jin Illuminatus, Melek Izzet Paragon, Prophetic Bolt, Rashmi, another mythic, Eternity's Crafter, Wart the Raid Mother, Solemn Simulacrum. This was also a Corset 21 card. I don't know if it was this art or not. So this is nice. These are nice includes when you have these. Cinderglade. So they're not like shocklands or anything, but they are fetchable. There's a Mountain Forest. Desolate Lighthouse. Exotic Orchard's a good land. Kessig Wolf Run. Mossfire Valley. It's alright. Mosswarp Bridge. Oran Reef the Vastwood. Scavenger Grounds. Yavimaya Coast. I'm good with Painlands. That's pretty sweet. Some more junk basics. We got a Bonder's Ornament. Arcane Signet. Now this is a good one because this was in the Brawl decks previously, so it's nice to see that these are out here and getting more reprints. Still a little bit pricey. This should help bring them down a little bit. Commander Sphere, Lightning Greaves, new art. Soul Ring, Clash of Titans. I think this stuff is like more filler stuff. I don't know if any of this stuff is new, so I'll just flip through these fairly quickly. We're in the commons, uncommons at this point. Overall, though, you know, they seem like pretty interesting decks, I have to say. Wilderness Reclamation just got banned in a bunch of formats. Growth Spiral, too. It's too bad you don't get a code for these, but I guess Commander not technically supported on Arena right now. So overall, these are pretty neat. I like getting at least a copy of each of the Commander decks as they release. It is unfortunate that they look like they may be switching to this, where they have the basic lands as lands from the set. So my hope is they go back to the Commander cards. But as a bonus this year, they did have 5 Commander decks versus 4 that we've had the last couple of years. So yeah, so that was a look at Arcane Maelstrom. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching.